It might actually be up to Donald Trump. What do you make of what he said he'll do? He'll do a deal. Perhaps we don't know a lot more than that. Is there a concern it would be too friendly towards Russia?
It's too early to preempt, and actually I wouldn't preempt what's the position of the US government going to be on Russia, on Ukraine, on North Korea, and we still have to see when the president is inaugurated. President Zelensky was one of the first ones to give him a call and congratulate him on his victory. They also had a very productive meeting on the sidelines of the United Nations General Assembly in September of this year, which Trump said was a good meeting. Trump is out there pursuing a foreign policy which is based peace through strength, which is closely aligned with our victory plan and how we see it. We have to remember that this is an assault not only on Ukraine, it's an assault on liberal democracies, it is an assault on the rules-based international system, and we all have benefited from that.
There must be some concern though, even things such as Elon Musk, who's sort of the president's bro now, if you take that term, who was mocking your president in one of his tweets, that this might be something that Ukraine doesn't like. Would it be something you still might have to stomach because you can't really continue without US support? So maybe you have to give up territory. I know Ukraine doesn't want to do that, but that might be the only choice on the table.
I think those people who are calling on the exchange of territory for peace, they don't understand, or maybe a bit delusional, because they think that this is what Russia wants. Russia does not want any territory. They want to destroy Ukraine as a nation, and this is a goal that they are pursuing. So it's important that they fail in Ukraine, because their aggression cannot be rewarded. It must fail. And appeasement is not going to work in this particular case, and we see it.
Would it be them failing, though, if there was some territory carved off, and that was the end, and Ukraine had a fast passage to join NATO, and that was the end for Russia? If they got a slither of Ukraine, would that really be them succeeding, an appeasement, or would that be them getting something but ultimately failing on their real goal?
Look, it's not up to me to comment on this. It will be decided by the top Ukrainian leadership. But in this equation that you're offering, NATO membership is actually the only security guarantee we see for ourselves.
What can you tell us about deeper missiles, permission from the US to fire them deeper into Russia?
It's been a lot in the news. We will, of course, have to see how it's going to change the situation on the ground. There was no official statement, so to say. There were just numerous news reports on this issue, and we will see where those strikes could be allowed and where they're going to happen. And I think, but for the time being, I mean, we just have to see and watch how that will be rolled out.
Would Ukraine have any reluctance to do so around ramifications and what could happen as retaliation? Would it just be, here's a small window, we're going to hit them like they've hit us?
There are heavy battlefields taking place at the moment, and there are legitimate military targets that we were not able to reach, like Home Depots, a high concentration of the Russian troops on the ground, as well as some of the aviation bases, which we were not able to reach, or could reach only with our long-range drones, which were not in sufficient numbers that we've had.
So to be military targets over some sort of tit-for-tat on civilian sites would be what Ukraine would do?
It's it's up to the military command to decide how they're going to use the capabilities we're getting from our Western partners. But definitely we are seeing what Russians are doing at the moment. They're intensifying their attacks just over this weekend. They've sent over 120 missiles, both cruise and ballistic missiles, to targeting our energy facilities, making it unbearable for the civilian population to survive this winter. 11 people died in Sumy over the weekend, including 2 children. The same just happened last night in Odessa. Another at least 10 casualties who suffered from that attack. So Russians are actually deliberately targeting our civilian infrastructure. We need to stop them, and the only way how we can stop actually Russia and actually put them to the negotiating table, if we can demonstrate strengths on the ground and on the battlefield.
Okay. Just finally, what about Australian assistance? Anything in the sort of inbox for you where you're trying to convince Australia to help?
We're grateful for Australia's support so far, especially for the latest donation of 49 M1A Brown tanks, which have been donated. They will constitute a serious contribution to our land defenses in Ukraine. Also, there was an announcement about some RIP boats, which will be donated as well. We're working with the government closely on whatever is a surplus to the government. We would be grateful for that, especially in light of more involvement from North Korea and the deployment of North Korean troops on the ground. it's really is changing the security implications for the region, and how emboldened he may feel after this. Firstly, he's getting defense technology from Russians. He has a security and defense agreement with the Russians, and he may be emboldened to undermine security on the Korean Peninsula, which in turn will actually undermine the security of the entire region. That will hurt Australian interests pretty badly, and hence it's important that Australia continues supporting us. It's an investment in deterrence, because if Russia wins in Ukraine, it will inspire others to do something similar here in the region. Because if Russia can get away with changing borders, there will be other leaders, authoritarian leaders, who will want to change borders.
Ambassador, appreciate your time today. Thank you.
Thanks a lot for having me.